Story 1, Books. Always gotta get the deluxe hardcover version of whatever I am currently reading. Do not regret it though. Story 2, Public Behavior. Get off your speakerphone. Do not let your children scream everywhere. Walk on the right side of the street. Do not abandon your shopping cart in the middle of the aisle to get more apples. Park between the lines. Do not blast your music for everyone to hear. Speak at a normal volume in restaurants. Most importantly, be nice to service workers. Story 3, Wigs. I cannot wear low-quality products. They must feel comfortable and look natural. No itching or overheating. Only human hair, medical grade. Story 4. I am particular about spelling, especially common mistakes such as there, and they are. I do not necessarily like it about myself, but I know it is true. Story 5. Putting items away is important. When I put away dishes, tools, groceries, and so on, everything has a designated place. My wife loads the dishwasher carelessly, and I cannot allow that. Story 6. Flights. I travel a lot and I do not like flying, so I like to make the process as enjoyable as possible. Transportation Security Administration pre-check, lounge access, first or business class seats. Anything to help me relax before and during the flight. Story 7. I don't wait in line for food. If there is a line to get a table at a trendy restaurant, I will just walk away and get a table at one of the 1,000 other great restaurants in my city that do not have a wait list. I am not referring to situations where people who are struggling might be relying on food banks to feed themselves. I fully support that and I would wait in line for that too. I am talking specifically about the restaurant scene. Story 8. I'm particular about home decor. I want things made of real wood, tile, and good fabrics. I try to be discerning within my budget, of course. But if I can help it, I will never have a plastic-lined tub or shower, or a fake tile backsplash in a kitchen, or fake wood. Story 9, Beer. Ice cream. Life is too short to drink bad beer or eat light ice cream. If you want to save calories, eat less but enjoy quality food and drinks when you do. Story 10. I don't know what it is called exactly. I am 68 years old and live in a 55-plus community, which turned out to be the wrong fit for me because I am more progressive-minded. Turns out that I am, I guess, a snob about a lot of things. I will start with a basic education, including writing skills, basic history, basic mathematics, basic biology, and basic philosophy. Sorry if I have gone on for too long. Story 11. Air conditioning. I have family members who refuse to blast air conditioning in their house and car to save money on a very hot summer day. Come on. Story 12. Ranch. I love house-made ranches from restaurants, but I am definitely particular about them. There is a hierarchy. Story 13. Coffee, tea, kitchen knives. I would prefer if this were not the case. Life would be cheaper and easier without the need to source specific beans processed in particular ways, import specific tea, or acquire knives made from particular steels by specific craftsmen. Story 14. Hula hoops. I saw someone buy one today at Walmart and I was sad. I hula hoop dance. If you are not into hoops like me, you would not know that hoops at most stores are low quality. They most likely will not stay on your waist without falling down. Then the person thinks they are incapable of hula hooping and never tries again. There is a whole science to hula hoop design. There are different weights, tubing, taping, sizes, and more. There are different hula hoops for different goals. For example, I use one hula hoop when I am mostly waist hooping. But if I am doing many off-body tricks, I choose a different hoop. I have several. Real hula hoops are not cheap. On average, I have spent around $30 for most of mine, some more. I have an LED hoop that cost around $300. Story 15. I will not fly on a budget airline. I will not visit a budget resort. Budget vacations equal budget people and problems. Story 16. Clothes. I refuse to spend money on low-quality clothing that will last me less than half the time something of decent quality will last. I don't mean designer brands, which are arguably also low quality in their material, but anything that is not Primark or Shine. Story 17. Axes. There are very few options for high-quality axes. An axe from a hardware store is an insult to my dignity as a person. Story 18. Ranch dressing. Do not give any of that store-bought bottle dressing. Give me the real stuff made from good mayonnaise and buttermilk. Legitimately, if it is not homemade or restaurant quality, I will not eat it. Story 19. I don't think listening to an audiobook should be used interchangeably with reading a book. They are both wonderful activities, but they are not the same. I am a purist in that way. Story 20. Sushi drives me crazy when I see someone recommend an amazing sushi place but all they eat are California rolls. Story 21. Milkshakes. After working at Dairy Queen and then Chick-fil-A mostly on shakes and drive-thru, I feel like I have authority. Story 22. Pronunciation. Mind you, I don't usually make a big deal about it, especially for children and older adults who may just not know any better but have a good heart. However, I hold a very high standard for myself. I can't stand it when I mispronounce words or names. Story 23. Food. I am not classically trained, but I know what you are and are not supposed to do with different types of foods in preparation. Story 24. Chocolate. I usually buy Ghirardelli or Lindt or a smaller brand. The Safeway signature brand is actually pretty good, though. Story 25. Coffee. Whole bean and French press only unless I am on the road. To be fair, it saves me a lot of money not buying Starbucks, but I refuse any kind of Folgers pre-ground coffee. Story 26. Things should be done correctly instead of quickly. I made my husband take down our deck steps and reinstall them because there was a board missing in the middle for stability. The installer, my husband, wanted to rush and did not put it in. I love him very much. I just have to keep him in line and slow him down. Story 27. I am a firm believer that you cannot be a true punk or goth if you voted for Donald Trump or hold majority conservative, Republican, or pro-government values. This strongly limits the subculture to those who align with punk beliefs. Story 28. I watched my coworker devour fried chicken and still pick up their cell phone and scroll with greasy hands. So gross. Story 29. Jackets and coats. I am willing to pay a bit more for something that is made to last using better materials. The same applies to denim. I wear out the cheap ones quickly at work. Story 30. Art is rough because I know it is subjective and the question, what is art, is complex. However, the amount of art that required no skill and is popular hurts me. Story 31. Piercers. I will not go to one who is not Association of Professional Piercers certified. I do not know if it is that I am a snob about it or just annoyed, but the way a lot of mental health discussion has been reduced to a hashtag is concerning. Self-diagnosing can have its benefits, but it feels like it has gotten out of hand. Story 32. Basic moral standards. Misrepresenting versus accurately representing a position before you criticize it. Safe knife techniques when cooking. Thinking and speaking logically, including defining terms. Story 33. I judge people who spend money they do not have. $850 car payment, $2,000 house payment, and you make $2,900 a month. Some people just buy things to look good for others. Story 34. My grandma used to make the best jams. Strawberry, blackberry, apricot, plum, and peach. Sometimes she would mix them with rhubarb. Growing up, we always had homemade jam and never had to buy any. When my grandma passed, my mom took up the practice, and I am grateful to have the best homemade jams whenever I want. It disturbs me to ever be in a position to have something as ordinary as store-bought jam. Story 35. Intellectual curiosity. If you are not intellectually curious in some way, I will never crave your company. Also, fast food. Yeah. Story 36. Dog breeds. Your doodle is a mixed breed dog that you paid $3,000 for. And it has serious genetic issues. Don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with mixed breed dogs. My next dog will likely be one. But do not tell me your doodle is ethically bred or purebred. It is literally not. Also, do not get a dog just because you think the breed looks cool. Do research and pick a dog that fits your lifestyle. Or, if you are like me, you can decide you want a breed because you think it looks cool, but do research and be prepared to adjust your lifestyle for it before you get the dog. My Doberman gave me a hard time even when I thought I was ready. There was a huge lifestyle adjustment when he came home, But for people who are prepared for and committed to something like that, it is a great thing. I knew the adjustment was going to happen, and it ended up being even more than I anticipated, but I followed through and adjusted, and we are so happy. This dog is honestly one of the reasons I am still alive today, and I am very thankful for him even when he is a challenge. For what it is worth, all dogs are good dogs, but doodle breeders are irresponsible and should stop breeding. Thank you for listening. Story 37. Dairy in general. I am not eating low-fat or fat-free cheese, sour cream, milk, cottage cheese, or similar products. When they remove fat, something must be added to maintain flavor. Normally, they replace the fat with sugar. Story 38. Water. I can taste tap water as soon as it hits my tongue. I had a special filtration and osmosis system installed in my house to avoid that syrupy texture. If it's bottled, I only drink Saratoga or Aqua Panna glass bottles. Story 39. A set of professionally done nails. I will judge the shape, the color, the cuticles, how straight they are, if they are dirty, and everything else. Story 40. Seasonal fruits and vegetables and knowing them. I am a pastry chef. I cannot abide eating a peach unless it is in season, and I only eat peas in the springtime. I do not care if you think it is pretentious. It means I eat delicious treats. Story 41. Grammar. Most of us went to school to learn how to write properly. Why do we now ignore all types of punctuation and rules of grammar? Story 42. Corn on the cob. Never from the grocery store, only from a farm stand with an adjacent cornfield. Eaten the same day it is picked. Story 43. Flying only first class for my recurring flights over 4 hours. I dress as if I care about myself and others. No sweatpants or pajamas. Story 44. A little bit on horror movies, but I am in my 40s, so that has mostly dissipated into like what you like. But do not be a jerk. I no longer consume cheap sandwich meats except on rare occasions, avoid fast foods, coffee, and sweets. But it is not so much a health issue as, oh cats. I am in my 40s, and my digestive system is suddenly more fragile. That one is original. Story 45. Quality ingredients. When I cook or bake, I need only top quality products. They truly taste and work better, and I refuse to use anything low quality or substandard. Story 46. Home cooking. Too many home cooks are absolutely violating basic food safety. Good grief, the cross-contamination. Story 47. Fabrics and quality leather. When I say fabrics, I am including not just clothes but furniture. My mother's hobby during the pandemic was upholstery. My father knows more about leather than I do, but I can spot good quality easily. I dislike the feel of vegan leather, also known as plastic. Story 48. Cable wrapping. Over, under, or roll it. If I see you overarm one of my cords, you're getting kicked out. Story 49. People who burp in public without trying to suppress or stop it in any way are, to use an old-fashioned term, uncouth. Story 50. Dine in restaurants that serve food on disposable plates and utensils. It is harmful to the environment and unpleasant to eat with plasticware. Story 51. Artificial plants. I cannot stand them and do not think people should have them in their homes. Remove them from my sight. Story 52. Food. If it is meant to be poor quality junk that just tastes good, then I can accept that. But if I am sitting down to eat and being served, I want my food to be better than what I make for myself. Ordering a steak and receiving a slab of overseasoned meat with a gray sheen from not being seared at a high enough temperature is unacceptable. Your macaroni and cheese sauce split? Disgraceful. Yes, mine does too at home sometimes because bechamels are moody, but in a restaurant when I am paying $15 for that plate? Absolutely not. Story 53. I am not a snob about anything. I like the things I like and you like the things you like. We do not have to be mean to each other about it. Story 54. I cannot put a cheap fork near my mouth. I am not rich and have never been. I have had an extended relationship with ramen noodles. You know the forks are thin, some sort of metal, not quite finished. Some steak houses use them. Story 55. Milk. I buy biodynamic, unhomogenized milk from a company in the hills. Costs more but tastes much better than anything else. I will skimp on many things to save money, but I will not do it with our milk. They also have a very good ranking regarding the ethical treatment of their cows. Story 56. Luxury hotels and spas and massages. I worked for a 5-star resort as a massage therapist, and I am extremely picky about where we stay. Story 57. My day-to-day flavors, especially my treat food. I have a strange relationship with food because I dislike doing a mediocre job with what I eat. Salads, cuts of meat, seasoning, fruit, vegetables, snacks. I am not a clean eater by any means, but I do eat less when the quality is better. Story 58. Sweets and candy. I have a massive sweet tooth, but only for the good stuff. Gummy bears only with natural flavors and plant colors, with at least 20% fruit juice. Please. Chocolate, sure, but please Lindt or Gertrude Hawk. Cookie, yeah, I love a good cookie. I bake them myself because the store-bought gluten-free cookies are not up to my standard. Story 59. My favorite musical artist won a Nobel Prize. When you tell me that your favorite artist has great beats, I think, well, that's nice for you. Enjoy your music. Story 60. Ranch. I started buying the high-end refrigerated ranch dressing in the produce section, and now I cannot go back. Story 61. The toilet paper roll should be applied with the paper going over, not under. Also, if you own and wear a fanny pack, we are no longer friends. Period. Story 62. French fries. A local restaurant makes a great smash burger. It is truly excellent, but their fries are awful. My husband laughs because we tried it twice, and I asked for extra crispy fries but received bland, undercooked, pale fries. We will not go again. If the fries are not good, it is a hard no. Life is too short. Story 63. As a musician, I have spent years perfecting my music equipment to achieve the exact sound I want. I have refined it to the point that I become very distressed if it is altered even slightly. Story 64. Jesus. Am I the sole researcher who is plainly not accepting chat-generative pre-trained transformer schlock as legitimate science anymore? Story 65. Manners and general etiquette are important. Also, good food matters, not just the food found in 5-star restaurants, but food that truly lives up to the hype. Story 66. Amusement parks and roller coasters. I grew up going to Cedar Point every summer and then worked for Universal Studios when they built Islands of Adventure. I got to test all the coasters with 0 lines. I also had friends who worked for Disney and used to get us into rides with no wait. Story 67. Manners and human decency are important. Respect is earned, but there is a default level of respect. Language is also significant. Food, especially, is fundamental and almost as important as the others. Story 68. Parmesan cheese. Only Parmigiano Reggiano from Italy will do. Everything else tastes like plastic. Luckily, Costco has a very good shredded version. Story 69. Weed. But it's not what you think. I have anxiety. I do extensive research on what terpenes and cannabinoids are in a strain before I buy it. I do not smoke cannabis to get high usually. So no, I do not really want to hit the joint you are passing around. I am not trying to be rude, but I am also not trying to have a panic attack right now. It would kill the vibe, trust me. Story 70. Sandwiches are my favorite food, but not when they contain prepackaged mystery meat and store-brand sliced bread. Story 71. Restaurants. Not in the way a food critic is, but I have worked in restaurants for the majority of my life. When I go to restaurants, especially expensive ones, I expect to be impressed. Many restaurants are expensive nowadays without good reason. The food and service often lack quality. Why am I paying $30 for a house salad? That being said, I never complain to the waiters or online. It is just something my friends and I talk about afterwards. Story 72. Pushing your chair in when you leave it. Walking on a sidewalk rather than a person's yard if it is available. Fountain soda over any other form of soda. If I order soda and it comes in a bottle, I am not going to complain, but I am going to internally die a little. Story 73. children watching television and playing video games. I do not think it is cute. I think it is neglectful parenting. Story 74. Liquor. People who chase Buffalo Trace buy Tito's because they think it is craft, and make gin and tonics with Tanqueray and Hendrix drive me nuts. There is better quality liquor at a lower price point if you stop choosing brands that spend all their money on marketing. Be willing to get outside your comfort zone and you will be amazed by what is available. Story 75. My green chili seasoning. I have numerous red, white, and blue ribbons from county and state fairs in New Mexico. Story 76. Clothes. I have champagne taste on a beer budget, and I will not wear poor quality clothes or cheap fabric. So eBay it is. Cotton, cashmere, silk. Beautiful, well-made clothes are my preference. I rarely pay more than £15 for anything. The same goes for homeware. I do not want any old items. We have stunning crystal and bone china, linens, pans, curtains, and so on. It is all from charity shops and eBay. Story 77. Bread. I could never buy supermarket bread. I go out of my way to find bakers or bakeries that make real bread. Mattresses. We spend a third of our lives sleeping. I never compromise on mattress quality. Sheets. Not obsessed with thread counts, but I have to buy sheets in person to check the quality and feel of the fabric. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.